Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm Mac.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're going to each talk about our top 10 favorite medium to heavyweight games. I feel like we might do another video, medium to heavyweight Euro games. We might have to do another video for actually medium weight, because kind of one of the things I put on it was that on Board Game Geek it had to have a weight rating of 3 or higher, and I don't know if everyone followed that or not, but we'll have to find out. But there were definitely a lot of them that were, when I was looking, were in like the 2 to 3 weight range that I kind of thought could have been higher maybe, but I would say these ones are not, when I say heavy, they're probably not the heavy games that some people might think of, like Lacerda style games or whatever, but our top 10 medium to heavyweight Euro games. So this list is more probably for me, I guess, than you two. I think I tend to like them a little bit more.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and the usage of Euro game is probably going to be somewhat loose.
Just tear into us in the comments and how every single one of at least my picks does not fall under that category.
Wow. I would say like my list is, it's not, you couldn't necessarily go to my top 60 and see all of these, just because there were some games that like met the requirement of being 3 or higher, and technically probably could be Euro games, but these are more of what I think of a little bit more when I think Euro.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it helped me narrow it down, where if I did have a few more that I'm like, kind of have Euro and very into mechanics, but if they did have a good theme that kind of tied in there that contributed to my liking of it quite a bit, then I probably removed it, because I think kind of you think of Euro and it's just core mechanics. It's not, theming doesn't really factor into it much, so that's
I guess
probably
that's the definition we're kind of using.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of the biggest.
I think there's kind of a little bit of variables.
Some wiggle room.
But it's if you've never heard of Euro game before, that's really talking more about like a game with mechanisms, mechanics, that doesn't really care so much about I don't know. Yeah, like you said, the theming and stuff.
Not based in Europe.
Based on theme. Could
Although
be
a lot of them are.
There are a lot of them based in Europe, and I feel like that sometimes gives it a little bit more of a push, feeling that way. But we can get into it, since MaKayla's already getting bored with this list. And we'll let... I'll start it off. Okay. And I will say that this one was one that I was kind of going back and forth on, whether or not I should include it, just because it does kind of feel like a theme sort of on there. But maybe that's just because of the art style, the artwork in this one.
Oh.
And, this is a bag building game, a little bit. And it is not Orleans, which you would think it would be Orleans, because that one, definitely when you look at the cover, that one does feel very Euro game.
Yeah.
This one is Resurgence, which is the one that's currently replaced Orleans for me. I think I could go back and forth. It's not that I don't like Orleans anymore, but I just think this one's replaced. It's just got a couple other cool things going on in the game. I like the kind of bidding aspect to which areas you're going to be placing your workers in and going up some tracks. And then, just the building up of better things and building your base up, trying to get, unlock more actions and stuff, and just it's a very tight resource management style game where you're just trying to kind of continue building up, and just feels very Euro-y, but with the kind of somewhat splash of neon-y colors and the kind of more of a black and white and gray style.
This is way too colorful.
It doesn't it's not the first thing I think of when I necessarily think of Euro games. So that's why I think this one's kind of on the, I don't know,
that's funny.
Edge for me.
That's funny because I literally almost had this as my 10 and I traded it with a different one because I was like, I don't know if I consider this Euro-y because the bag building aspect of it, but I went back and forth on that one because it was almost my number 10.
Because it's the bag building, but then you kind of also use them as workers in a way. You're going activating spots. So, yeah, I feel like that's going to be one of the things for me possibly is the worker placement piece really brings out a kind of Euro feel in games, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 10, instead of Resurgence,
Orleans.
I traded it out for this actual place in Europe. And technically, Jesse isn't going to be the only one who breaks the rules because this one is not at a 3, but it is at a 2.99.
Why are we just assuming that I'm breaking the rules?
You have always broken the rules.
Always.
He's probably going to have 20 games on his number 10.
It wouldn't surprise me. But my number 10 is Castles of Burgundy. So
that must have been the one I looked at. I couldn't remember which one I looked at, but I knew there was one that I looked at that was 2.99. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I was like, oh, come on. So I think this game I think really is Euro. I mean, heavyweight, maybe not. I don't know. But for BGG says 2.99. So I'll take the 0.01 and increase it there. But Castles of Burgundy is a great game. I don't even know how to describe it. I've literally played it one time. I know what it is, but trying to get it out of my head is difficult. So
you're getting some tiles, and then you're doing some tile placement. You're building out your board with just a couple of actions each round, and your actions are determined by 2 dice that you roll.
Oh, it's just a dice chucker.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a dice chugger. I don't know.
All of 2 dice.
But no, it's got a lot of those. You're kind of, in a way, doing some set collection because you're trying to complete areas to get points. I think that's another big thing in Euro games is just victory points and gaining them in various ways, especially a lot of Feld games, I think, feel very Euro-y. And this one probably just as much as any of the other ones. But yeah, I think the thing about his games is a lot of them tend to be a little bit more approachable. Kind of like, I think Castle of Burgundy is, in most aspects, is pretty approachable. So I can see why it's not a 3. And I just came up with 3. I don't know if that necessarily means anything. And for some people, this could be much harder to learn than something that was a 3 point something. Yeah. I mean, it was just some standard that we were using. But yeah, it's a very good choice. Yeah, it would have probably made my list potentially.
That's crazy. If I had played it another time, it would have made my list. I didn't look at it because I had only played it like once on the app a long time ago, but I assumed that it would easily be above the 3 mark. So that's surprising that it is at a 2.99.
I feel like in looking through a lot of these ones, and I'll say what their weight is when I get to them, but I felt like the weight was not accurate for how I felt about the game. And like some were a lot heavier than other games on my list that I feel like are heavier. So it was really interesting to see.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this one. This is a 3.25. I was surprised that this is even a 3. But I like the game a lot. But that's probably why it's 10 here, because I don't feel like it's that heavy. And that is Vladimir Suchi's The Prodigal's Club.
Oh.
I did not... I mean, that one seems pretty straightforward and approachable. So.
Yeah.
And as well, I dropped it a little bit because I do enjoy the theme. Quite a bit, but it is pasted on, and it could literally be the opposite of the theme.
That's true.
You're in this one. You're trying to offend people and spend all your money and pretty much just get rid of all your reputation, all your money, and lose an election or something, lose votes. And it could be the other way around, where you want to gain all those things. But I really like this, and I really like the card play and how you have kind of 3 different parts, or possibly 2 different parts. I think you can play with to the game, like those things, whether you're losing your money or losing your reputation. Felt like the card play was very satisfying and very rewarding and still very approachable. I probably wouldn't even consider this a mid to heavy Euro.
Yeah.
I would say light to mid Euro, but it can legally be on here, so I'm going to put it on because I do enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's a good choice. And I would actually, in my mind, I think that one's heavier than Castle of Burgundy, so I think they got that right.
Oh, really?
I think, personally.
But I don't know.
It's been a little bit since I've played it, so maybe it was more approachable than I thought. Like, Castle of Burgundy feels like one I could pick up again. I think that might play into weight a little bit, too.
That's true. There's a little bit more order, it feels like, to Castles of Burgundy. But it has been a long time since I played Prodigal's Club. I did like it, though.
Yeah, it's a good choice. Good choice. But then I get into my next one, which I think could definitely, a lot of people are going to say Euro game. This is another designer that is known, I believe, for Euro games and for victory point style games a lot of the time.
Bruno.
No, not Bruno. Someone else, probably even more
Dr.
notorious
Knizia.
No. His are usually a little bit lighter, it seems like. So
Notorious.
This is one that
Alexander Feaster.
no. Uwe Rosenberg.
Oh, okay, that was where I was going.
Yes. So, and this one is A Feast for Odin. So he's got Agricola and Caverna as well, and I think you just probably pick your poison as to which one you like the most. This one definitely feels Euro-y to me in the fact that you've got tons of actions that you can possibly do, but at the same time it feels more approachable than like the Agricolas, because in Agricola I always feel like, I don't know what the weights are. I didn't write down my weights, unfortunately.
What?
But
Wow.
To me, Agricola with like the cards and stuff just feels heavier than all the hundreds of actions you can do in A Feast for Odin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then you're managing a polyomino kind of thing to your board. You're managing other resources and stuff and converting them into other things, and then converting those into, basically just points, right?
Yeah.
Or are you just trying to, get
Gotta
that in there?
feed your table and stuff.
Yeah, feed your table, feed your people. I feel like this is the most approachable one that has that, but I feel like that is in a lot of Euro games as well, some sort of feed your people type style thing. And this one's just probably my favorite of those kind of style of Uwe games. I think it's just, it's a really solid one. This one definitely is not a light to midweight. It's definitely for sure midweight and going to heavy, just because there's so many options in it. And if you like worker placement, this is a solid one that you should definitely check out. But it is a very big game.
It is.
It feels big.
I think Feast, it looks like it was on my short list. I think it had a 3.86 of weight.
Okay. So. It's heading up there.
Which seems a little higher than I would almost put it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the actions, if you kind of know what they do, I think they're easy enough. There's just a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how that plays into it.
I don't know what the balance is for weight. If it's how hard it is to play, or just how much complexity there can be in the strategy.
That's true.
Because there can be super approachable ones, like I think Castles of Burgundy kind of is that, where it's pretty easy to get a hold of and actually play, but there's just so much that you can do with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good pick, babe. I've only played Feast like once, so and it was like a year ago, but I agree. I think that's the strongest one out of those sets. So, all right, my next game is coming in correctly in the margin at 3.78. A game that when I woke up this morning, I saw on the table, and I said to Zach, "You guys played Wayfarers without me?" Wayfarers is my number 10, which...
We did it again, Zach.
Of the South Tigers.
Of the South Tigers, yes. I don't know if this really counts. I mean, I think it's a Euro game because of the complexity of it. It really reminds me of other games.
Another notorious Euro game designer.
And I love Wayfarers. I think it's just so solid. The ins, the outs, all of the things, and... Not very often do I get a heavier game that I enjoy, like, thinking through the pattern of it, and Wayfarers, I think, just really hits a good sweet spot with it. There's so much that you're doing with this, from worker placement to dice, using your dice to do actions, and cards and set collection, and trying to build on top of things, and all of these wonderful, magical things that work together so brilliantly. So, definitely a great Euro game, I think. At a 3.78.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting that I don't think of those instantly as Euro games. I think of them more as Shem games. And maybe it's
He's his own category.
Maybe it's because they're so colorful.
Yeah,
I think
as
so.
well, that you just don't immediately think of them. But yeah, that's a good pick. It definitely qualifies. Unlike my number 9, which this is one, and if we're talking mid to heavy, so not quite that top Lacerda on Mars level of just melt your brain. I couldn't not put this on the list, even though it's 0.11 short of the three. It's a 2.89, and that is Rajas of the Ganges. I'm like, this just falls right in that, because it's not like the first Euro game you should play. Like, it's not too approachable. It's not that bad, but it's not that entry-level game. But at the same time, it's not that super high thinky game. So this is one that just falls right into that in my mind, that it should be in this category. And it doesn't look like you guys agree with me. At least he doesn't.
Oh, I agree that it's not your
It's
first
not the
step
start.
into it.
No.
But I also considered putting it on my list, but I saw that it was low, and so then I just moved on to the next one. But I could be persuaded to your way of thinking, Jess, because I love Rajas.
It is pretty approachable, and I've enjoyed it from the start, so that's probably a sign that it shouldn't be on this list.
Yeah, I think that's just it, because I think the first time MaKayla played it as well, you really seeed to like it. So I feel like it might actually be that next level.
Typically,
game.
Euro games are games that I hate on the
Well, I don't know.
first playthrough.
But no, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. Yeah. You can explain it a little bit more if you want.
It's a dice game, dice worker placement. So you got that worker placement, Zach.
Yep.
Dice and worker placement, and sometimes both. You're building your routes. You're building your engine of income as well, if you want, with those different markets. You're manipulating your dice in all these different ways, and in the end, trying to intersect your two score markers going around the board in opposite direction. I don't know, it just brings a lot of unique things and a lot to think about. Like, it's never, I mean, there are obvious actions that you want at certain times, but it always feels like there's so many different paths that you can go down, and if something gets taken, you can maybe go somewhere else, maybe go along the river, take a spot there. I feel like there's a lot to chew on in this game, so it qualifies.
That is fair. It's definitely a solid choice.
It has the depth
It's definitely
of
a
any
solid
of these
choice.
other games.
I might have to go back and do a video of 2 to 2.99, because there were a lot of games that fell in there. That I, looking back, it probably is a lot of medium ones that I would consider medium fall into that category. I would consider that a medium, which I guess is what we are doing.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think-
definitely on the lighter side of medium.
Yeah, I think I just have fewer categories than maybe you do, and I group this one in with that, where maybe it's on the lighter side of that group for me, but maybe you have those separated even more.
Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, there's another one. I don't know. I don't think you'd have it, because it also did not meet it. Murano, by the same designers, Inca and Marcus Brand. Which one would you say is heavier?
I would say Raja's is heavier.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the action selection is
Interesting.
just so much simpler
Yeah.
in that one.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
That is fair.
Another great game.
Zach's
It is.
next one is Murano.
It is not. It did not meet the 3.
Okay.
3.0. I think it was like a 2.6, so it was lighter. So, my number 8 is a crossover with someone's on this list already.
Whoa.
Well, half of these don't even qualify, so it's not those.
Is it me?
It's you.
Aww.
And it's actually, I don't want to spoil it, but okay, I'm pulling a pepper here. This is 2
Oh,
games.
wow.
This is 2 games by the same company.
Okay.
Are you sure it's not 9 games?
It could be. But it is Wayfarers of the South Tigris and Circadian's First Light.
First light.
So I put these together. They're both kind of dice-driven games, and I was initially just going to put Wayfarers on here, but I wanted to throw Circadians on there as well to give it a shout, because I think they both have their own. They both feel have a lot of thinkiness going on to them. They feel very heavy, and you're kind of using dice and mitigating them in both games. Definitely, I think I enjoy Wayfarers a little bit more, but I feel like Circadians feels more Euro-y than Wayfarers. So that's why I just kind of combined them. But yeah, they're both really, really solid games. They're definitely on the heavier side of the Garfield games. So I'm interested to see where they continue to go, if they continue getting heavier and heavier or not. But yeah, they're both dice-driven. You can manipulate the dice. Can place, well, the one you're placing dice out as workers. So we're already getting a lot of dice worker placement type games out there. So we like those for sure. And yeah, Circadians is definitely a tighter feeling game, I think.
Yeah.
Although there's tightness to Wayfarers as well. There's just a lot of goodness
Feels way tighter
in their games. So yeah, if you want Euro-y style games, I would say Garfield Games, especially their trilogies and even Circadians, which I don't think gets as much love. I think they're all very good Euro games, ranging pretty broadly. If you're going into like the Architects and Raiders, I think those are more on the approachable side, and these are probably some of their heaviest ones.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed. All right, my number 8 is just barely scraping into this category at a 3.07. So barely made it into the cut. It's a relatively new game too, so maybe the weight will change here after a while. It's not really what I think of when I think of Euro games, so I went back and forth on adding this or not, but then I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to add it, and that is Expeditions by Stonemaier Games, which is an interesting example, I think, of a Euro game. I don't know if it really fits in the category, but you have workers that you're kind of playing out and moving tiles to gather resources in order to fulfill cards or do actions, and you're also looking at like set collections. So I felt like there was a lot going on, or enough going on to where it could be classified as Euro. The theme didn't really matter in this game, I didn't think, too much, other than it just kind of linked everything together. And so again, kind of another example of a Euro game, but I don't know, I just really have enjoyed playing it. The puzzle of this one I think has been really unique to learn, and it's hard to beat those giant minis, so.
Metal ones.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta play that one. So is that, I guess I could be spoiling the list. Does it feel heavier or lighter than Scythe?
I would say it's lighter than Psy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It definitely is not, it's definitely not Psy level.
Okay. Maybe I can
It's right in between Scythe and My Little Scythe.
Yeah, right in there. Sweet
Perfectly in the center. My number 8 is easily into the threes. It's a 3.46.
Wow.
And Zach would probably recognize it if he had written down his weight, because I think this is probably going to be a crossover. This is Clans of Caledonia. I've liked this one since the first time I played it. It's a very colorful game, actually. Very beautiful artwork. And still...
Is that Clemens Franz?
I think that is Clemens Franz. Surprisingly, that was one that I think surprised me, but it's still somewhat approachable for me, since I'm intimidated by these kinds of games, and I don't like getting into them, but that one did help, because I won the first
What
game
did they
I
do to
played.
you?
Got a big brother that beats you.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I don't even win these games. You just whooped me at Wayfarers in your first play.
That is true. That is true by a couple points. He lets me win by just a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, Clans of Caledonia is still pretty approachable, pretty easy to know what you can do. You just put things out onto the spots. The cost is very clear what it's going to take. But it is very crunchy and very tight. You feel like, oh, I got so much money this round. I'm going to get to be able to do so many things. And then you take like 2-3 actions, and it's like, I have 5 coins left. I have nothing else to do. And just trying to be able to get and fulfill orders, because usually you can only hold 1 at a time. And you're like, okay. And they get more and more costly as the game goes on, so you want to get them done as early as possible. But it's just so hard to be able to pick them up, get the resources, fulfill them, and then get another one up. It's very heavy, very crunchy, but I still like it. It's just easy to play enough for me to love it.
And it came in at a 3.4?
3.46, yes.
So it's like technically lighter than Wayfarers, but I would rather play Wayfarers. That's funny. See, that's what I mean about this weight stuff. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I would think that one should be heavier than Wayfarers.
Yeah, I would think so. And maybe it's just the type of game, just trying to get that production and build that engine. Maybe that's just... Although there's a little... It's not really that in Wayfarers.
Yeah.
It's not really engine that you're firing off or anything, but I feel like that kind of game is just a little more little heavier for us.
Yeah, my number 7, speaking of engines,
Choo-choo.
you got to get this going pretty quick. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind
Oh,
and
boy.
lose by 200 points.
Guilty.
That was a guilty one. You only lost by like 100 something.
I only lost by
I
60.
barely beat you. My train barely made it out of the station on that one.
But this one is Russian Railroads / Ultimate Railroads. I've only played the Russian Railroads piece to it, but yeah, just in general, we've got the Ultimate Railroads box. I'm sure we'll eventually play some more of the other ones. But yeah, this one definitely has. It's another one of those where you're getting tons of victory points in various different ways. But this one, yeah, definitely is one of those that if you get behind, you are in some trouble.
Yeah.
Typically,
That game is wild.
It is quite wild. It just feels Euro-y, but it also feels very different from a lot of the other Euro games. It's got the very classic feeling worker placement spots. That piece of the game feels very Stone Age-y, classic, easy to understand. Not like anything weird with the worker placement. But yeah, like everything else in the game, you're moving up your tracks, and you have to build certain tracks before you can build the next one. Get them, built out further, move them down these tracks. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's very interesting to think about after the game.
Yeah.
Just to think of how could I get these, which one's actually the best one to do. And at least in the last game we played, you kind of took a very different thing than Taylor. Taylor ended up winning. But you weren't that far behind,
You
and
did?
yours was.
Yeah,
I thought you did.
No, he got his gold out and moved.
Yeah, he got that
track.
gold track out.
Oh, see, I totally thought Jesse won that. That's how closely I was paying attention.
I got second. I only
I got
lost by
last.
50 or 60 points.
third.
I got dead last. But yeah, there's just a lot of cool things going on in this game with getting those engineers and stuff. There might be a little bit of luck in that as to turn order and which ones kind of come out win. At least initially, that first round. But
yeah,
this one I look forward to playing a lot more. But I don't know if I don't know. This puzzle to me seems a little bit more difficult. I think that's why I like it, because it's just one of those that I'm like, I don't know if I could solve it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
As Pepper says,
Yes,
he's solved the game.
He has solved like 90% of our collection.
Wow.
But yeah, that's
I have not.
That's a 3.26 weight level, and
3.26?
I was honestly
what that
thinking
is.
when I looked it up, I'm like,
Goodness.
this might not even be 3.
that's what I'm
When
thinking.
I was
'cause,
looking,
like,
I was like, this might be a 2 point
the
something.
worker placement
It's
is
very
worker
simple.
placement.
Yeah.
The actions are very simple, like
Yeah.
move the green track or move a white track, and just a couple other things. It's very easy to read iconography. It's just like that, like you said, that puzzle of trying to figure out how you're even going to score the most points.
Right.
It really is unique.
It is.
And I feel like if something's unique, it feels less Euro. It feels
It
like
does.
less
Yeah.
classic. That it feels. It just takes away from it a little bit, but it almost made my list.
It is not on mine.
Come on, Maggie.
I don't want to say this, but like listening to you guys talk about your different Euro games and knowing what's on my list, I'm like, I don't think I like Euro games as much as I thought I did, because like I'm thinking of, like, you mentioned Prodigal's Club, and then I started thinking of like Firenze and like Grand Austria Hotel and like all of these games that like
I know they weren't 3.
are not on my list. Well, okay.
Well, Grand Austria Hotel might have been. I don't know if I took that one.
All right. Well, this is gonna be a crossover with you, my love.
What? It was Ultimate Railroad. You lied to
I'm
me.
kind of surprised that this was grouped in
I know.
there.
She didn't?
You
Yeah.
didn't group them together. I
Yeah.
did.
I didn't group them
Everyone's
together.
breaking rules today.
But I think this is the last time that Circadians is going to be in front of Wayfarers for me. I think Wayfarers is going to start jumping in the top 50. So, Circadians.
But I guess based on the ones me and Pepper have picked so far, and your now possible dislike of Euro games, which one do you feel feels more Euro-y?
Well, I haven't. I'm blanking on what you guys have said so far.
Ultimate Railroads, Feast Road, and Resurgence.
Prodigals, Rajas, clans.
Those are both Euro.
Okay.
Both. Probably,
No.
I'd lean more your way, I think, on the games. Well, are you asking?
Well, no, I meant which one out of Wayfarers and Circadians would you say is more Euro-y?
I see. Oh, the space theme is throwing me off.
It does. It does.
I think Circadians which is interesting because it's actually lighter than Wayfarers too. Which I would not agree with at all because Circadians at 2-player is so tight. I can't even imagine it at like 4-player. I would like be sitting at the table just like dying in my own thoughts of like, what do I do? You can only do so much in that game. It is not very forgiving if you do not get what you want or the dice don't align to your numbers. But at the same time, it has that like Euro piece where it's like so cool where like if it does align correctly and you do get things going, like you can end up with a really good score and instead of what you've done. So Circadians 3.44, which is lower than Wayfarers at a 3.78.
Wow, that's a big difference.
That is a pretty big difference. It's a
0.3.
surprising difference.
Yeah. So that's my number 7. Circadians the First Light. Which we should probably play soon. It's been a while.
We can leave it off for a couple more
That one
years.
actually had a reprint, which we did not.
Yeah.
We have our OG.
We're not going to talk about the reprint. 'Cause it makes me sad.
Our original, I think they might have changed. I think they changed it, but the resources in the original are quite tiny.
They're
Yeah.
teeny.
They're cute. They're cute.
You need like little tweezers.
I should have given you 2 of these. My 7 was just mentioned as possibly being 3, possibly not being 3. You thought it might be at a 3.22 Grand Austria Hotel. That's another one that did surprise me because, again, it's pretty easy to play. I mean, there's just like 5 or 6 actions, and they're pretty simple, and what you're doing is pretty simple. You're getting guests into your hotel, you're trying to feed them and put them into a colored room, and you're trying to get, I guess, is it rows or columns or whatever of your rooms. It's nothing that's very crunchy. It's not like you're building a huge engine complex thing here. It's, like I said, very approachable. I've never felt scared of this game, which, I mean, it's weird to say you're scared of a game, but like, you know what I'm saying. But it doesn't feel that hard to table, and that was surprising to see that it was well over the 3 mark, because like it's just dice game. Roll them out, assign them to the actions, take an action.
Yeah, it starts stronger and gets weaker as you take the dice away from it. That's a really cool. I really like that mechanism in games, but
when it goes in your favor.
Well, luckily in this one though, like if someone takes it, the next one that you take is just 1 less strong.
Yeah, but that's even if that dice gets rolled. We've had it before where no
That's
4s have been rolled and we need a 4.
That is fair, I guess.
And you're sitting there waiting 3
But
turns.
yeah, I think there is that bit of managing several things because you have to keep going up on that one track, otherwise you get like negative benefits.
Yes.
You got to make sure you have the rooms to put the guests in, and you have to make sure you're getting the goods to keep moving the guests through. So I think that's probably where the weight comes from.
And then also make sure you hire staff that help you do all of these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe I just had a good play where it worked out. Where I'm like, oh, that wasn't that hard.
There are some simple parts to it, but I'm guessing that's where the weight comes from, is the management of kind of all those things. You're running around frantically. The theme! This isn't even a Euro!
This is not! And who designed that one? Do you know?
That was someone.
Nice.
I don't remember.
I forget. Randomly, Alexander Pfister came to mind, but I'm like, that is not Alexander Pfister.
I don't think it is.
The artwork reminds me of
I'll look it up. You go to your next numbers.
Okay, I'll go to my next one.
Nice.
And speaking of Alexander Pfister, you're just leading me right into my next pick here. Number 6, Maracaibo. So I like this one quite a bit, and it probably could be heavier, but out of the games that I still have coming up, those felt a little bit more Euro-y. I think the colorfulness of this board and kind of some of the cubes and stuff, for some reason my head make it feel less Euro-y, but it definitely is a Euro game. You're kind of just going around a rondel, going to different areas, taking actions, getting managing a tableau of cards, and um, yeah, just trying to do anything you can to obtain more victory points. Which, the top thing for Euro games for sure. And Alexander Pfister tends to have a lot of medium to heavyweight Euro games. I think most of his designs fall in that category. Not all, but a lot of them. And this one is probably, I think it's still my favorite one of his. We've got a couple other games of his that we've got to get to the table yet, but I don't know if they'll overtake this one for me. I've played Great Western Trail a couple times, and that one, I don't know if it's over 3. It probably is. But I think I prefer this one over Great Western Trail, but that one's still pretty good, and it has some similarities. I really like this one. If you're looking for another really solid tableau building game, this is one for you to check out.
Complicated. All right,
Complicated.
I'm sticking with my space theme for my number 6, and this is probably the most controversial Euro game.
Suchi?
Designer crossover with my number 10.
You guys tell me if this is Euro or not. I debated, but in the end, I decided to put it on the list.
It is the other one.
Vladimir Suchi.
Oh, no, it isn't. I thought it was going to be TM.
Pulsar 2849.
No, this is definitely Euro.
Is it? Okay, good. See, I was like, I don't know, because there is a theme, but I love this game so much. I don't know what it is, but space Euro games are kind to me. And this one I think is like...
Pepper, let's get her the new one. The 4-point something weight.
Okay, let's calm down. I don't even think a single one of mine broke 4 on this list, so
I don't know that we have all that many.
Yeah, but Pulsar is a great game where it's another dice checking game, but it has some really unique mechanisms in that the dice are placed in certain areas, and depending on what number you take, it could benefit or negatively impact you.
Don't say it, Zach. Don't say it.
What?
I'll let Pepper say it.
I ain't saying it. He
What?
brings it up every time he compares these games.
No, your comment about Grand Austria Hotel and the action's not coming up that you want. When it's literally the same thing in this game. You're rolling the dice.
With Pulsar, though, you can get the tiles that allow you to change dice. With Grand Austria, you're like stuck.
You can re-roll those dice.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
They throw one in the trash.
It's not a great option, though, all the time. Anyway, this game is great. There's a lot of different bites of this you can take. You also get to fly your little spaceship around the, I don't know, galaxy that it is, and you're just really honestly trying to collect as many points as you can and satisfy conditions for end goals, which is probably a very Euro thing to do. So I just really, really like this game. The theme is so much fun, and it feels refreshing to play something that's not like set in Europe or, making a castle or fortifying something or feeding people. This one, you just get to be a little spaceman flying around the galaxy. So
Good pick.
I'm alone in this, but that's okay. I'm a strong, independent
No, it's a
Euro
good pick.
gamer.
And he is coming out with another space-themed game that currently has a weight of 4 point something.
Oh, dear.
You should see the board, though. Pepper even said, "Holy smokes, that's a good-looking board."
That was a good-looking. It's terraforming Mars, but ×2.
But good.
And good-looking.
Wow. All right.
It's good. We gotta get it. We gotta get it. Play it? No. But get it? Yes. My number 6 also kind of has a number in the title. And it is a weight that just barely snuck on there, the 3.03. Glenmore 2 Chronicles. So another one that obviously it's just barely sneaking on the number here. It's lighter, it's more approachable. But ever since I first learned how to play, I think you'd asked me, oh, should we get this game or not? Now he doesn't even ask that. He just gets them.
Or you're the excuse to get them if you don't even know what the game is. Well, Jesse wants this one.
He's just looking for excuses. But this one was a good one, and as I was watching how to play it, I'm like, that's really cool. You draft these tiles in a rondelle, you place them on your board, and activate that and everything around it. And that's just a really cool action selection, action activation mechanism. And with those tiles, you're doing the regular Euro things. You're producing different resources. You're spending them to get victory points. And there's a whole nother board that you can move along and claim additional scoring objectives and bonuses. I don't care about that. I just care about the drafting and placing of tiles.
That's a really good pick. I honestly thought that it wasn't going to be heavy enough, so I didn't even look it up.
Wow. I could see that.
I assumed it was in the 2s. Mid to high 2s. Is what
Probably
I
the
was thinking.
Chronicles, just adding enough.
Yeah, probably. That's a good pick, though.
I guess I'm the only one who likes it.
Wow.
Yep.
I do like it. Wow. Savage.
I don't know. This one's just, it feels more abstract than anything to me, but I don't know.
Themeless Euro.
Just have a hard
Euro.
time dealing with that, like, tile placement mechanism. It's wild, and the scoring is wild. It can be
Which makes
fun,
it
though.
a Euro.
It can be fun, though.
It is. It is a lot of fun. It's definitely one worth checking out. And
Yeah.
if you're worried about the weight on some of these that we've mentioned, I think that one is definitely one of the more approachable ones.
Yeah.
So, although this one is number 5, I would not say it is as approachable. And we're getting back into those castle walls and things that MaKayla said she despised.
I don't despise them.
And just taking care of pretty much everything. And this is getting back. He's coming back to the list. I could have had him on here 3 times. Luckily, I combined 2 of them. So this is Paladins of the West Kingdom.
Oh, wow.
This is one that doesn't get played all that often. It's definitely not a favorite in the household, I would say, of the the Garfield games. It's on the heavier, that's right along with those other ones on the heavier side. But this one, to me, just feels a little bit more Euro-y because you're using a lot more meeples to activate the actions, and then you're trying to just be really efficient with all the things that you're trying to do. You have resources that you're trying to manage to unlock these various different places on your board to do more things and more things and more things. And I just really like those efficiency puzzles, and you're working on many different things at once and just trying to figure out what you need to actually focus on, because you're not going to be able to do it all. And I just really like the fact that there's like a card that kind of gives you kind of a helping ability each time. You get to pick out of like 3 in your hand. You'll put one back on the top of your deck. You'll keep one, and you'll put the other one on your bottom of your deck, so you likely won't necessarily see that again. But then that one will give you certain temporary bumps, basically, on a track that just allows you to take actions. And then sometimes during that, you just have to kind of spam that action if you can. So trying to find ways to do that is just a lot of fun. I think this is a really solid one for heavy Euro style game.
It's good. I didn't like it in my first play. I liked it in my second play. So
He'll love it next play.
I think this one is exactly what Euro is, because it's one that for me is taking so many times playing it to like actually understand it.
Yeah, like, oh, here, take 3 cards, put one on the top, one on the bottom, plan your next turn. No, I'm not thinking about this at all. Take what I want now. Don't think about it.
Yep.
That's me.
Maybe I'll try and use this one next time. This seems like it'd be more usable, so we'll try it. And then remember what all of the symbols are in that one. That one is wild with the symbols. They typically do a great job with the symbols, but that one, for some reason, is just like, well, you can either kill that card or you can buy that card, depending on which one you want. It's like, huh? What? Okay. So, I think that one is a quintessential Euro game. So.
Heavy.
Yes, she is. All right, well, my number 5 is Staying in Space.
Wow, so
I
she
know.
is going to have it on there.
Wow.
Is it not a Euro game?
We'll find out.
All right, it is Terraforming Mars.
Let us know below.
At a 3.26. So it makes the mark. And I struggled with this one too, but I'm like, come on, it's all about victory points and getting everything to work correctly in order to get those victory points. And whether that be the cards or setting up your greenhouses and your production mechanisms. I felt like, yeah, this is good. This is a good pick for it because there's so much to do with that game. But Terraforming Mars, I think, has been kind of a late bloomer for me, where I started out kind of not really understanding or liking it, and now I kind of really, I don't really understand it, but I do really like it. And so I think that's just kind of how Euro games go for me. It's like, I don't know about that one, and maybe after a couple of plays, I finally start understanding it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, does it work too well for the theme? Is the theme too tied into it? So I'm
No.
like, can I imagine it with another theme? Although
Terraforming
there are
Jupiter.
100 other games that
Yeah.
people compare to Terraforming Mars that have completely different themes, so it probably could have another
Like
theme.
literally building anything, or like tile
Yeah.
placement with anything.
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably.
It is a good game.
Yeah. You guys don't feel it's Euro?
I think it. If people were classifying it, it would probably fall under Euro. But in my head, that's, I guess, when I was thinking of them, I thought of this as being one of our heavier games, and I was like, But when I play it, I'm not thinking I'm playing a Euro Euro game.
Like, there's no worker placement here.
Where's the workers?
Just giving
It's only
in
a 3.26. It's lighter than Pulsar. It's lighter than Circadians.
Just
And
give
it's
him.
lighter than Wayfarers
Wow.
on my list.
Just give him some meeples to like choose. I'm playing this card. Put a meeple down on it.
This
Yes,
is
it
a
is.
heavy Euro.
My 5.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. My 5 is breaking a different rule. It is not a 3. It is a 2.99.
Oh, really?
It's not Castles of Burgundy.
Oh, drama.
It is another one where you're scoring a buttload of points. Whistle Mountain.
That was the one that I looked
Yeah,
at.
you were talking about it before. You had some 2.99s. I had to just act completely oblivious. I didn't even see any of those. But yeah, this one, when I think of this, I'm like, yeah, this is that mid to heavy Euro game. Maybe it's just because I've only played it a couple times, but I've enjoyed it, and it feels very complex, and so many different paths to go down with the different upgrades you can get for your airship or for your base, and just you got worker placement of your airships, but because they're airships, that's too unique, and that takes us out of the Euro category. But yeah, it's really nice artwork as well. The theme is whatever. There's really no
The
theme. I like
water's
it.
rising.
It provides good artwork and kind of fun to think about flying all these airships down here as the water's rising. It's a little wacky, but it could be anything else. But I really love the tile placement and then placing of those workers, those ships, and they activate everything around them on this grid that you place them on, so that can just be massive rewarding turns that you create. You create the board. I really love that mechanism. And it's just a ton of victory points, which is one of those Euro game staples.
It's an excellent choice. I was honestly shocked when it was not 3. I thought this should have been a little heavier.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's
He
endless oodles of points.
He didn't say it's not on his list. He just said he was shocked.
Well, it's not my number 4. But my number 4 is a game I think you played once. MaKayla has not played yet.
Uh-oh.
This is one with dice again. Yeah, this is Coimbra. So, this one, I've enjoyed it every time I've played it. There's just something about it that, I don't know, just feels like you're bringing everything together, trying to manage your money and I think there's another resource in this game that you're managing. You're using the two to buy different cards, and then you buy those cards and you end up going up these 4 tracks to do other things as well. I think that some of them give you the resources, some give you victory points, and the other one you're moving around like this horse thing to get extra bonus points. That's just points and points and points. Yeah, and I just find this one to be a lot of fun because you're having to pay for the dice that you draft, and those colors of the dice matter. And then when you're drafting, or when you're I guess, drafting cards with those dice, the amount matters because the higher they are, you get first choice at the cards available to you. And the lower they are, you kind of get whatever is left over. Um, so you're taking that risk, but then at the end, when you actually are paying those costs, it costs you more if you're using a higher die. And I just really like kind of the puzzle of that. Like, am I willing to kind of pick the last card, or do I really, really need that one? Because then I might have to pay more for it. And it all kind of depends, too, on what's rolled. And if you're playing with less than 4, I guess I don't know if I played with 3. Mainly played with 2. So then there's like these numbers that are kind of already set in there, so you know that you have to beat those particular numbers. But yeah, there's just a lot of good stuff going on in this one, and it all comes together really, really well. It all feels like it flows. And, you know.
Yeah, I did not. Must not have been on the list that I was scrolling through because I didn't even see this one. It didn't come up. That would probably have been on my list.
Ooh. Nice.
Oops.
Oops. All right. My number 4 is coming in at a 3.44, which is exactly the same as Circadian's, which I think is really funny to put these two next to each other. But mine is Psy. Hey. So, worker placement, very specific goals. I don't know. I mean, you guys don't think it's Euro?
I think it's Euro, but I think it's more action selection than
Sure. Worker placement. Yeah,
but
I guess.
Worker placement's kind of action selection. There's the argument that it's all the same.
Another discussion. I think
it's all the same.
The Bearcat that is Psy, anyway. So, which is just, it is a Bearcat.
It is.
For someone like me. Okay, Psy is one that I'm going to lose no matter how many times it comes to the table. The question is by what margin. And so the puzzle of this, I think, is so fun. When you only get, to take this action, and then you got to take a different one. And I feel like that really helps me understand or, work through, like, the turn order and stuff, and just, like, plan different moves. Like, it forces you to. So I think that's really what I enjoy about Psy, is that, like, it helps me in my thinking. Don't always think right, don't always do the right thing. But I think at the end of the game, there's very few that I walk away from wondering, what could I have done better? Maybe I should have done this instead. And Psy is one of those games where I do think about it after the fact. Because typically I'm just, like, done playing because I've just thought through the whole game. And I'm done thinking about it. But Psy is one where I want to think back through it, and I probably won't remember for next time what to do differently, but it's just kind of one of those things that you just keep replaying in your brain. So, Psy.
We gotta play it, just us two. Then one of us can get a win. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll cry when it's not me.
I did it, Zach.
Got a W.
You can just coach each of us. Go back and forth.
It's like playing chess against himself. It's no longer fun to just play and dominate us. He wants to help us dominate each other.
Yes.
Thanks, babe.
My number 4 was mentioned earlier. I think back in his number 10. First one even on this list. This one was mentioned. He's like, oh, you're probably thinking of this bag builder. Orleans. At a 3.03. So another one just barely sneaking on here.
So we don't like the heavy ones. Like
You guys are picking some good picks.
The whole point of this video really is just the middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay.
Anything just to scrape the bottom here. But this is, we agree, this is Euro. This looks like a Euro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say.
Bleh. So check mark there, and it's over a 3. So it qualifies. I love the bag building mechanism. And another one that's very approachable and can be very rewarding as well, especially if you get my single combination that I like to play with every single game, getting out my buildings or whatever on the map, and then getting a coin per building that's specialist or whatever, and just keep spamming that every round and getting 8 points every time. I love to do that. I've gotten to do that, I think, every game, so it's a very rewarding, awesome game to me. But bag building is cool as well, and couple that with some worker placement, get that Euro worker placement. If it was just bag building, with something else, I think it would feel not quite as classic.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's another good pick. You guys are doing well, but not as well as I am.
Oh.
So my number 3.
Wow.
No, you've had some really great picks.
You should have put it. You should have said 3.5 and up, Zach.
Well, then I don't know how many of mine would even be on the list. We don't have all that many. I think that
I'd
are
have
3.5
I'd have
and
one
up.
We don't
on
have
the
one
list.
over 4 yet. I don't
Right.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 3 I don't think is over 4 either. Actually, I wasn't sure if this was going to be over a 3. This one definitely does feel Euro-y as well. It is Heaven and Ale. And this one
is over 3.
That is over.
I didn't even look. Ah, dang, that would have been on the list too.
Yeah, this one is.
You're right. I do
feels
have 20
different.
games on my list.
It's a whole lot of fun. It's another one with a rondel and also kind of tiled drafting in a way, and you're just picking these different colored tiles, and I think they're associated with a resource or something, but they're really. You call them by the colors.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a Euro game. When you start calling things colors instead of their resource or whatever they're supposed to be. And then you just put them. There's 2 halves of your board. You've got like a light side and a dark side. And you're placing them out there. It costs twice as much for each tile. They have a certain cost. It costs twice as much to put it on the light side, I believe it is, than the dark. And each side kind of does different things for you in the future. So you're kind of going around these activation spots. You're building around them. Once you completely surround them, then you kind of get an activation, and depending on which side it's on, it either produces more money for you or produces kind of the resource itself for you to go up these many tracks. One for each resource and one for your brewmaster, and you're just trying to get those up as high as you can. That's the whole point of the game. And then at the end, you kind of use some conversion, depending on where you are, I think,
Kind of just
to
bring
get them
them
all
to
together.
a middle point, and
Yes.
I think you multiply that by your brewmaster.
I think so, something like that. So it's a really weird. The end game scoring is a little weird, a little wonky, I would say.
But it's cool.
It is cool. I would say that is the weirdest part about it, but the rest of it all feels very much Euro-y to me.
Doesn't matter that they're different tracks though, because you kind of even them all out. Like everything's gonna kind of be 1 point worth then.
Well, some of them start lower than
that's
others,
true.
so
That's true.
I don't know if you kind of have to get them going. I guess I don't know what the tile amounts are in comparison to what colors start where.
Yeah.
I haven't really ever looked at that. But let us know if you've done a deep dive into Heaven and Ale. But it is a great one that you need to definitely check out.
It's definitely a Euro. My brain hurts sitting here just thinking about that game.
About how freaking awesome it is.
All right. Well, my number 3 is another Shem game. So it's like
Wow, she did get it on there.
there's three on my list.
Is this that?
Wow.
I was really
We'll see.
shocked.
If it's what I think it is, I
It's
wouldn't
a
have thought it was a 3.
3.46. It's one of the highest games on my list.
I don't believe that.
I know. It's Viscounts of the West Kingdom. And it's coming in at a 3.46. Unless I looked at something completely wrong.
Probably
But-
was. It just,
I know. Because I was like,
there's a few things about it.
yeah, I'm like, interesting. So, Viscounts of the West Kingdom is a great game in which you are managing, I guess, a deck, I would say, or hand management, I guess, playing them out. And
It's
then,
a deck building. I
Yeah.
would say.
And then on top of that, there's like a rondel of actions that corresponds with that, and you're working to do some set collection, getting your buildings out, which is kind of a staple, I feel like, for a lot of Shem games, and then also getting people into the castle, kind of up to the top tier level, and getting benefits that way. And I really, really love this game. Probably is not a traditional Euro, so I was kind of miffed by putting this one on here. So I was like, well, it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. I don't know. But I'm going to go with it is for this list because I like Viscounts, and any chance I get to talk about it, I love, because I feel like Viscounts just doesn't get a lot of love for some reason.
It doesn't. I mean,
It is the one in that trilogy that doesn't get any love.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because personally, I find Viscounts to be the most interesting out of that trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, Paladins, okay, it can be mechanically sound, maybe, but it's boring. It's just a board, actions printed, this, that. Viscounts, you got your man carrying that flag, you're going in a circle, you got
You're
man,
weaving up and down, you're trying to decide which way you go.
A few different options.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the castle. Castle looks cool. Just explodes very satisfyingly. It's probably the most...
I love chaining them off each other. It's the best.
It's just one of the coolest, while still being very heavy Euro.
Yeah. So, Viscounts of the West Kingdom, great game.
I'm falling back in love with it.
Probably not your typical
It's a good
Euro
choice.
game, but I feel like it does cover a lot of the bases of like what a Euro game is. So, with its own fun twist.
My number 3. Oh, I just read it as a totally different game. This is, I believe, the first over a 4.
Oh
we've
my
mentioned.
goodness!
And that's me.
Yeah.
I'm saying this.
You're slack.
I would put this under a 3, honestly.
I don't think I have any other 4, probably.
Wow.
This is in the T games. This is Tekkenu, Obelisk of the Sun, which I'm surprised that that's over a 4, 4.06.
No, I definitely don't want to play it.
It doesn't feel that bad. The actions are pretty simple. What you can do. I don't know why it's that heavy. I mean, there can be some... I'm trying to think, is there really engine building? Because you can get cards, and I think that could be kind of what it is, getting all those different cards, which you can then play for their instant effects, or they can count towards your end game score, and then I guess you have to move along that track and manage your followers, and I think there's kind of dual tracks at the bottom there to be able to score your cards. You have to place statues. You can place them out on the different sections of the kind of rondelle or whatever of dice that you're choosing from, or you can put them in different sections of the board. I completely ignore the column section. It just doesn't seem that rewarding, but everything else does seem very rewarding in the points that you get, and also very approachable. I don't know, I've just not been hesitant to play this game, which I can't think of any other... I don't know how many 4s we have, but usually if something's a 4 on BGG, I'm like, even if I'm very interested, if it has a great looking cover or something, and I see it's over a 4, I'm like, oh, that sucks. Too bad, probably not going to be getting this game, but I guess maybe they're worth it. I didn't look at the other T games. I don't know exactly what they are. I assume they would also be around a 4.
I guess I don't know. I maybe should have had Teotihuacan on this list. Sounds pretty good, but I guess I don't remember. I don't know if it would have been high enough.
Teotihuacan, City of Gods, is a weight of 3.78.
Wow.
So, like a quarter point, a little more than that, less.
No. I could see that though. There are some things in Tekkenu that are a little heavier, but 4, it's getting up there. Yeah, those are both good games.
Also got dice. We got so much dice here.
We got a lot of dice.
It might be every single game has dice. I'm not sure.
Well, this one doesn't.
Ah, dang it. Way to break
my
the
next
streak,
one doesn't.
man.
This one does not have any dice.
My next 2 don't.
I don't think. I could be wrong. This designer has had a game mentioned on both of your lists. Does Pepper know what it is?
I'm not even going to try.
Neither of you have played it.
Oh, yep.
Oh. I haven't played it?
Vladimir Suchi. Praga Kaput Regni.
Oh, yep.
So yeah, this one, the board has its pieces that look Euro-y, and then it has its pieces that look a little nicer, I would say, because they got some nice little artwork on them. But then kind of the bottom a little bit is a little beige. You got that kind of, just to let you know that it's a Euro game. But yeah, this one is a lot of fun. I really can't wait for you guys to try this one, especially since I know you guys are huge Vladimir Sushi fans based on your list. You guys are going to love this one.
We're in for it now.
there's quite a. It looks like there's a lot going on the board, and there are a lot of choices. But it kind of makes me think a little bit about your like Takenu type pick, where there's things that you're probably just going to have to sort of ignore a little bit, or not going to be able to do as much as you'd maybe like, because I think was it 16 turns in the game, 12 or 16. So you don't have that many turns to actually do stuff, and there's a lot that you want to get done in those few turns, which I always love. Games like that, and yeah, this action selection gear that as actions are taken, they kind of go back to the beginning. So if you're kind of taking actions that keep getting taken, you're having to pay money for them, and the longer they stay on that kind of gear thing, if no one's taking an action, it actually starts giving you victory points to take that action, which I find really cool as well. And I think it's 6 core actions, which 5 or 6 actions, and they're all pretty simple. So once you kind of know that, it's not really that difficult of a game to know what the actions are. It's just kind of figuring out how best to most efficiently get points using those actions and kind of what you want to focus on a little bit. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. It's probably, even after only a couple plays, it's probably my favorite Suchi game, and I do like those other ones that are mentioned as well. So
I just looked it up. It's a 3.75.
3.75.
Wow.
I was thinking that one might be my heaviest. Yeah, it probably is. I don't know what Paladins is, but I think that one. Feast for Odin was 3.86, so I guess that would be my heaviest, which is a little strange because I wouldn't have thought that.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it's definitely heavy, but I don't know.
Paladins.
But I suppose, like I said, there's only actions that are pretty simple.
Paladins is a 3.71.
Okay, so that's right up there too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess they have it. They kind of have a description. So light is 1, medium light is 2, medium is 3, medium heavy is 4, and heavy is 5. So the only one for our medium heavy list who's actually qualified here.
That's you.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to be really close to qualifying with this one.
Oh.
It is the heaviest game on my list. It is Maracaibo at a 3.91.
Oh, I guess I have that one, so that one is my heaviest.
Nice.
Yeah. Good job.
I didn't realize that one was that heavy. My gosh!
I know.
How do people rank these things?
Maracaibo is crunchy, man. I mean, I don't know why I love this game because I should not. Based on my other preferences, this one's a wild card in my top 60. Like, it's just like, out of the blue, MaKayla likes this heavy game. And it's like, okay, well, she's either lying or she does like it. I don't know what's wrong. And Zach kind of already explained it, but it's really fun. You're going around to different islands, and then there's like this random like run through the jungle action that you can do to try and earn more things. I just sit there with the rule book. No matter how many times I play this game, I will always just sit there with the rule book and go, all right, so we're to the end. Flip 2 pages to the end and go, okay, so we need to do this, and then this, and then this. And I feel like that is just like so Euro-y. It's like I can't even put the rule book down because it's so complicated sometimes. And we don't play it all that often, and that's probably part of it, but even if we did, I feel like I'd still need rules clarifications on that game because there are just some things that are just unique about it. So, Maracaibo, my number 2.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Wow. He just upset he hasn't played it enough.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, only played it once, and I got the scoring figured out in the last few turns.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, so that's what I should have been going for.
The scoring is a beast on that one. You get it, but I'm sitting there like, I need a calculator. And somebody to math this.
Just
It's
need
wild.
A lot
dozen
of
more,
points.
2 dozen more plays, Mac.
Yeah.
My number 2 is a crossover, and it is a Euro game, Mac. Terraforming Mars.
Hey! He got
At a
it.
3.26. I mean, what else is it? What else could it be? The theme does work pretty well for it, but it is a Euro game. It is a heavy game. You're terraforming Mars. You're building your whole engine. all your cards, all your production. So while you're not placing workers, and it does feel different, just being pure player cards build your engine, it does feel different than other Euros. To where I could see not putting on the list. I still think it's going to appear on your list, Zach. You're not fooling me. I can see right into your soul.
We will find out.
But yeah, it's a great game, and I like it a lot more now than I did last year, and I wasn't going to not put it on this list.
Another good game pick, Pepper.
I'm so bad at this.
So I guess I will say I have a crossover at my number 1. I guess so. You think it would be Terraforming Mars over Scythe?
Oh,
You think
okay.
either of
Only
those would
one
be on
spot
there?
left? No. Maybe.
Well, this is only a one-way crossover,
Oh my god.
and it's with you, Pepper.
I'll just sit back then.
Well, unless MaKayla just shocks me and has it as her number 1, which will never ever happen. 'Cause I don't think she even really enjoys this game.
I played it once, maybe twice.
What did
How do
he?
you know what it is?
I get
You peek.
I did. When
You always peek.
You said it was a crossover with me, so I peeked.
Wow. Is Pepper?
Oh yeah, that one. Yep, I got it.
It's the Euro game of Euro games. You got production in this game. And
And
Clans of Caledonia.
And you got Clemens Franz artwork.
Yes! You bring those together, and you got Euro game.
I better
the
make
Euro
sure
game.
that it actually is him as artist.
I don't know. I think it is.
Where is it?
But yeah, I think it's over
Oh,
on
okay.
that
You
side.
moved it. Okay.
All the heavy games are over on that wall over there.
Oh, I see. I didn't
but-
even look down there.
That's where Pulsar is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so this one, like Pepper said, there's just a lot of greatness to it, and yeah, it's got that tight kind of contract fulfillment. That's what keeps it so enjoyable, and you can just spend money in this one just like that. It's like I didn't even do anything, really. But yeah, it's just trying to make the decisions of, okay, do I want to build this, and then build cows, bring cows out onto the land, pay for the land to do that, and then do I want to make this cheese factory, so to say, so that I can turn the milk that I get during the production phase directly into milk or cheese? Is that what it is?
Should you change the milk? To milk?
Changing the milk into milk. Who knows what I'm doing?
I think it's cheese.
I think it's cheese, or you'd be producing some wheat, and you can turn that into either the whiskey or
Bread.
bread. Is that the two? I feel
Yeah.
like there's two different things you can change it into, or you can shear your sheep, and if you have sheep out on the board, I just really enjoy how the production works in this game. I'm kind of surprised I don't know of any that have you get the resources I've seen before. Obviously, you're bringing in resources from things you might have out on the board, but then actually making them into finished goods as opposed to kind of the initial materials used to create those. I don't know if I've seen that in other games, but something about that just feels very Euro-y to me.
Yeah, just the fact that in your production you can do it. I know other games you can kind of trade for more valuable resources, which kind of represents that, but yeah, this one definitely feels like you're actually doing it.
Mm-hmm. And it feels like you're actually building things out onto the map that are kind of helping you, and then it's just is it Clemens Franz?
Yep.
Even though it has that artwork, something about this just looks really beautiful.
The people are small enough.
Yes. There's something about it that just
Gross.
looks really beautiful, and I don't know, just brings it to my top spot right now. I think is what I'm most feeling for my favorite Euro game, and I'm very excited that they are coming out with some new games, and by December of 2024, I'll have several new games, an expansion to this, and then 2 more new games from. I forget his name. I call him Juju. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce the name, the last name.
Juju McSchuster?
You got it.
No, it's not Juju Smith-Schuster. It's what is it?
Jamal
Jumal Juju,
Al-Juju.
something like that. Hopefully, I didn't mispronounce it too badly. But yeah, I think they've got Millennia and Thiefdom for sure, and then I think they might have something else. But I am really looking forward to those games because this one is solid.
It's news to me.
Well, I knew you wouldn't love it, well, wait. You've got one more chance.
I got one more.
You've got a chance!
This is going to be so controversial. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Cartographers.
Cthulhu Death May
I
die!
don't know if you guys are going to agree with this assessment, but I could not put it on the list. Like,
Is Red Rising?
If it's Red Rising, I swear.
this one is so opposite of not thematic.
Ish?
It is 3.11.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
so
Give me that.
opposite of not thematic. It is the most thematic game. And
I think I
it
might
takes
know
place in Europe. And I was like, you know what? Based on those two alone, we're going to call it a Euro game.
I think I have a feeling I know what it might be.
And that is Obsession.
I was debating this one.
Yeah, I mean, you've got worker placement and kind of like not really tile placement, but tile buying. I don't, kind of tableau building.
As someone who doesn't get into the theme, I say this is 100% a Euro game.
Well, there we go. Validated.
I would say it's a Euro game, but it did not make my list because of the thematic ties.
Oh, it was just
felt
too thematic.
Too thematic for me.
Okay, no, that didn't stop me here, because I was
He's like, I just enjoy this too much based on the theme.
well, and I'm like, when I thought about it, I was
Exactly.
like, the points on this, like how you get points, the point saladness of it, like I just felt like it was, you're racing to get victory points in this game, and so however you can in those few ways, and so I just felt like, it's there. I love this game. I love everything about it. I'm going to throw it in any single list that I can get it into. Because I just love it that much. But Obsession is just, it is just a strong game where you're just trying to get points through cards or using your tiles or getting your reputation up or getting money. There's so many different things that you do in this game that it is crunchy, like a Euro game for me. And so that's why I put it on. It came in at 3.11, which I was like, sold! It's on the list!
Yeah, I think the crunch factor can outweigh the good theme. I think that if the mechanisms are Euro-y enough, those types of mechanisms, even if this really does feel like it was designed by someone who loves the theme and loves Euro games and just got a perfect combination of the two, I don't think you can disqualify it from Euro just because it works.
It's a standalone. It's like the one game that's managed to do both, I feel like. So I'm not going to hate it for that.
No. Great pick.
Is it your number one?
Wow. It is not. It was close. Okay. It wasn't in my 30 here in the short list, but it was close. My number one is, I'm the only one who mentioned it. It's got a 3.56, so pretty heavy one, and I think the theme actually works pretty well with this. It's a very colorful game. But one thing that I think is very Euro-y is, like Terraforming Mars, like Clans of Caledonia, you actually feel like you're running something, like you're doing what you're doing. And this one is Pret-a-Porter. And that really feels like you are running a business. You're hiring the specialists and the workers. You're going out and getting all the materials to be able to fulfill these cards, to then present them at the fashion show and earn a ton of victory points. It is heavy, it is very thinky, but still, again, pretty simple actions. You go to a spot and you pick up a card, or you go and you pay for different resources at different costs based on where you're going, or maybe a bunch of one type of resource, or one of a bunch of different types. It's very simple ways to go. The scoring is pretty easy to grasp, kind of just trying to get a couple different features within your line of clothes. It's a lot to think about, but, it just doesn't kill the brain, and it kind of strikes that perfect level if I want a super heavy game where I feel like I'm really building something, but I can still play it. This is one.
I didn't know you liked this one so much.
Yeah, this is a good choice. It was on my short list, but I think it fell to the same thing as Obsession. It felt too thematic for me. It really feels like you're running a business more than any other game.
It's hilarious.
But it is a Euro game. That is how I would describe this one.
Yeah, I would say it's a Euro game.
So,
I know
it's
a
heavier.
Euro game
It's heavier
because I don't like playing it. it's hilarious that it's like a fashion business, and you two are
You
like,
can-
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You two are just fashionistas.
And you're just like, I hate this.
I've sat through it a few times.
I've sat through it.
I don't hate it. But...
I've moved.
Yeah, if you can take on debt
I
in a
work it.
game,
Yeah.
then it's a Euro game.
Oh.
That's
What
true.
is Brass Birmingham's weight?
Oh.
I don't know. That was on my short list too, but something about it felt.
Because it's.
I don't know what it was.
It's too thematic.
It was very thematic. I think that one is a heavier one.
3.89? How is that
My
not on your
goodness.
list, Zach?
It was on my frickin' short list. I
It's
don't
the
know.
number one of all time, Zach. Now we can't even put it in the thumbnail and get the clicks, Zach.
My number one is Brass Birmingham. No, that would probably be my 11. Just because, I don't know, something about when I was thinking about it, it definitely felt like heavy Euro. But yeah, just when I was, I don't know if it's just the production of it or something about it just made it not feel as Euro-y as the other ones.
Yeah.
And the lack of workers, I think, is what makes it feel a little less Euro-y. But it definitely is a heavy game, and for what a lot of Euro games stand for, I think it falls under that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another really good game, and it deserves to be number one over that Amerithrash, Gloomhaven.
I was just looking to see if it was.
You know you like it more than you'd like Gloomhaven. You just like the jaws of the lion.
That's true. I agree.
Gloomhaven's 3. So.
It is now.
Yeah.
It's Pandemic, the other one.
Is that one coming from Brass Birmingham?
It was already number one at one point.
Hmm.
So it could get back up there. Maybe. One day. But yeah, let us know in the comments below how wrong we were on all of our picks.
We might have to do a video of like 4 and higher.
I don't
These
think
were
we have
not-
that many games.
We got
might
one.
We might not even have 10 games that
Can
are
you sort
4 and higher.
BGG by weights?
I'm sure there's a way to do it, but yeah, I don't know.
Arc
Too many bones might be.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Too Many Bones is, and if that's not, I don't.
Huh.
We don't have that many heavy games. So yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think. If our lists fit what you would call a Euro game, what your top favorite 10 Euro games are, medium to heavyweight Euro-y games. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, let us know if you want us to make any other lists with following the rules of
We never
2.99 or less.
We never follow
What-
our
what
own
was-
rules.
What was the 2 to 2? Light, medium?
I think it was light and then light medium.
Tell us if we need to do a light medium.
Yeah.
I guess.
I was like, oh boy. Top
'Cause
50.
there are going to be a lot more of those ones.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we hope to see you on our other videos. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.